Advanced Speaking and Pronunciation. Video 1, Overview. Part 1. English is a rhythmic language. In our previous video series, Intro to Speaking and Pronunciation, we discussed that English is best thought of as a rhythmic language, where some sounds are longer in length, while others are shorter. This is similar to the idea of musical rhythm, with some notes longer in duration than other notes. In this video series, we are going to move beyond the ideas of individual sounds and begin to look at more advanced concepts, including how we group these sounds together to form understandable words and sentences in English. First, let's go back and look at some of the information we presented in our previous video series, but in a slightly different way. Part 2. What are segmentals? In our previous video series, we identified the individual sounds of a language, called phonemes. These phonemes could be distinguished from other phonemes and constituted the smallest unit of meaning in a language. In linguistics, the science of language, these types of isolated, distinct phonemes are called segmentals. In English, segmentals are classified as consonants and vowels. We learned that English had around 44 distinct phonemes, though we identified 46 to 47 sounds based on our use of the Longman Dictionary of American English. These are segmental in nature because they do not occur at the same time. In other words, one sound will follow another and generally sound distinct from each other. For example, in the word knee, notice how we can hear each sound distinct from each other. Let's look at the phonetic spelling using the International Phonetic Alphabet. Knee. However, this word is fairly short. Let's look at a word that has more than one vowel sound to see what happens. In the word banana, we can hear each individual sound as well. B, n, a, n, banana. However, something else is going on here. Even though each sound is distinct from another, notice the use of the schwa as the first and third vowel sounds. In the previous video series, we introduced the schwa, this symbol, as a rhythmic idea, representing an unstressed sound. It will sound very short and reduced in sound. The middle vowel, on the other hand, will sound longer and clearer in comparison. Banana. This is called the stressed vowel. Part 3. What are suprasegmentals? Suprasegmentals, as opposed to segmentals, are those aspects of pronunciation that do not occur with any specific segment, such as a vowel, but they do work together with segments to convey a specific idea. Let's demonstrate how suprasegmentals work by looking at the word banana again, this time in a different way. Now first, we're going to demonstrate the segments of banana. So we are looking at the word at the segmental level. We're just looking at the actual phonemes that are present in the word. So let's follow along with the individual segments, with the consonants and the vowels. B, n, a, n, Now, notice how we look at the word again, but this time focusing at the suprasegmental level. B, na, n. As mentioned before, the middle vowel sounds longer and clearer. This is called the stressed sound. Stress is an example of a suprasegmental. The word suprasegmental means above or beyond segments. Again, these are aspects of pronunciation that do not belong to any specific vowel sound, but rather work with all of the sounds of English to help form words and sentences. Suprasegmentals are a prosodic feature of language. Prosody is the study of how the individual sounds or segments fit together. These features include rhythm and stress, intonation, focus, and thought groups. In English, these prosodic features help add to the musical quality of English. Part 4. What are syllables? In order to gain a better understanding of these prosodic features of English, we must first go back and address the fundamental unit of rhythm, called a syllable. A syllable in English consists of a syllable nucleus, center, which in this case will always be a vowel phoneme, and often an initial and or final consonant phoneme or phonemes. Let's go back to our example of banana. Now notice how we will take the segments, and of course thinking about this stressed segment here, this stressed grouping here, and now think of it in terms of syllables. So notice how this word has 3 vowel sounds. Therefore, we can say that it has 3 syllables. Let's group the segments into syllables now. Banana, banana. Remember how we called the middle vowel na the stress sound? Now we can call it the stressed syllable. The other 2 are unstressed. Banana. Finally, notice how each syllable begins with a consonant. This is very common in English. These syllable breaks will often occur between the vowel of the syllable before and the consonant of the following syllable. B. Here is the syllable break. Na. Here is the syllable break. N. So again, notice the consonant here is separated from the vowel sound before it. The same thing at the end. Na, n, a, n. Now in the phonetic spelling, notice how the spelling of the word has an apostrophe-like symbol in the middle, as you can see circled here. This is called an accent mark. This is indicating which syllable is stressed in the word. With dictionary.com, the accent mark will come before the syllable to indicate which one is stressed. So in this case, the symbol here represents that the second syllable will be stressed. Many online and paper dictionaries use the same location, though some may underline the syllable or place the accent after the stressed syllable. In our next video, we will expand on the basic idea of syllables and syllable stress by talking about how we can identify where the stress is going to take place in a word, how to understand the concepts of primary and secondary stress, how to pronounce stressed and unstressed syllables appropriately, and finally, how the dictionary can be a valuable tool in this learning process. Pronunciation tip. The number of syllables in a word is equal to the number of vowel sounds. Part 5. Review. Segmentals are those individual phonemes in language that are distinguishable from one another, in sound and in time. In English, segmental ideas are the distinct consonant and vowel sounds we studied in our previous video series, Intro to Speaking and Pronunciation. Prosody involves those ideas of language that are beyond the individual sounds of a language to include rhythm, stress, intonation, focus, and even thought groups. These features are called suprasegmental because they do not occur with any particular segmental idea in language, but rather work together with them to convey a specific idea. Syllables are the fundamental unit of rhythm in English. They involve a nucleus of a vowel phoneme and often contain consonants in the initial and/or final position of their unit. The number of syllables in a word is equal to the number of vowel sounds in a word. Finally, with words that have more than one vowel sound, one of these vowels, or syllables, will be stressed. This means that it will sound longer, louder, and clearer than the other syllables, which will often be unstressed and will sound shorter and reduced in sound. We will explore these ideas more in the next video. We want to identify some helpful websites that will help you in your development of speaking, pronunciation, and vocabulary. So, we want to mention our Kenton ESL educational website series, the Speaking and Pronunciation website, and our Vocabulary Development website. Both of these are available at our main website, www.kentonesl.org/class-websites. We will also recommend using various online dictionaries. The one that we will be using mainly for this series is dictionary.com, but there are several other good online dictionaries. You can access these at our Vocabulary Development website. We'll see you next time for Video 2, Syllable Stress.